Evening VC, Dave here. Had to enter another contest. AGK's Vinyl Life. Anthony up in, I believe he's in Toronto, Canada. Great contest idea here. One that I was really kind of excited about to see what I had. You got to show 5 records from 5 decades, and there's a preface. You have to show basically the same sequential year. So if you show 1950, you got to show 60, 70, 80, blah, blah, blah. So we're going to do this, and I'm going to show, we're going to go back to 1950 and go all the way forward. I'm going to show 8 records instead of 5. So the first record is one I just recently showed in another contest. Yeah, I think it's the only one I have from 1950, so fits the bill. Charlie Parker, The Bird Blows the Blues, on the Dial label, Dial 901A. The first ever jazz record on 33 1/3. Everybody that watches my channel knows, seen me shown this before, but such a great story with this record. Dial back in 1949. I wanted to try out the 33 1/3 record, and so they put it out there in a flyer in Downbeat and another magazine in New York City that said, hey, if you're interested in this record, write in, we'll send you a card, and then you'll send in your payment with that card, and then we will send you the record. And so I'm not sure how many of those there were. I don't think there were many. And they had that was the original copy that had no cover like this, and just a yellow, plain yellow label. I think only a very few still exist. I know Mr. Cohen up in New York has a copy. Talked about that. But then they put this out in 1950 because it did so well. And it's Charlie Parker at his absolute finest. Bird Blows the Blues on the Dial label, 1950 on this copy. So we go to 1960, and I've got an original copy of Ornette Coleman, properly titled Change of the Century, on the Atlantic label. And a very accessible Ornette Coleman record, in my opinion, one that everybody should have that's into jazz. This is one of the pinnacles of Ornette's career for me. I love this record. Man, it's so good. Don Cherry is on the pocket trumpet, Charlie Hayden on bass, Billy Higgins on drums, Ornette on the alto. One of the finest lineups ever assembled for any record. 1960, Ornette Coleman, Change of the Century, Atlantic. Moving on to 1970, and I've got another favorite in my collection. This is the George Avenidas Trio in concert on the Futura label from France, and everything on this label is fantastic, and not easy to find, but worth seeking out. George Avenidas is an amazing dynamic piano player. Jackie Sampson on the bass, Charles Sadre on the drums. Yeah, this one is fire all the way through. Highly recommended. So that's 1970. Moving on to 1980, and we've got a record recorded live in 1980, John Shakai live in Athens, Greece. Fantastic record. This is on the Praxis label from Greece. Recorded at the Alhambra Theater in Athens, October 20th, 1980, at their Practice Jazz Festival. There's some great interplay on the B-side with John vocally with the audience, and a solo record. It's just John, and solo records are sometimes records you want to avoid. This one you want to go in full on. This is fantastic. fantastic record. John Chakai, he's played with John Coltrane in the past, I believe on Ascension. Fantastic player, great record. So yeah, that's, what are we up to here? That's 1980. Moving on to 1990, one of the most important records in my life. When I first heard this, I was changed forever. I was in rock and roll ever since. Helmet, Strap It On. I grew up in upstate New York, and when the New York City scene broke, I was just starting college around that time, in 91, and I got turned on to this from my friend Jake, and man, I'd never heard anything like it, and I've now seen Helmet a bunch of times here in Charlotte. Paige Hamilton is a god to me. FBLA, first track on side 2 is probably my favorite Helmet track. So yeah, 1990, Strap It On. It's on Infamity and Reptile Records. This is an original pressing. Very hard to find now. Alright, moving on to 2000, and this record, I have the CD, and the CD got played over and over and over and over again that summer with my friend Jay. Anywhere we went, it's the only CD we would play, months and months and months and months. And that is Quantum presents Soulside's Greatest Bumps. This is the 4-album set. Quantum Projects, everybody's here from the Oakland scene. You got the Get the Gab, Lyrics Born, Lateef the True Speaker, Black Alicious, DJ Shadow, Latyrix. This is some of the dopest beats you're ever going to hear in your life. Sickest flows. Just everything about this is unreal, and this is a sealed original. I haven't brought myself to open it because of the CD. I still have the CD, so maybe one day I'll pop the cherry on this bad boy. It's the only record I have sealed. Moving on to 2010, and a solo record from Walter Schreifels, who was in Gorilla Biscuits. Quicksand was his band that he started, and then Rival Schools, and this is his solo record, An Open Letter to the Scene. This is a split release on Academy Fight Song, Dine Alone Records, Big Scary Monsters, and Arctic Rodeo Recordings. This is also not an easy record to find now. Great singer-songwriter stuff from him. Very cool artwork on this. And playing acoustic, Gibson guitar, proper guitar to play, and the inner sleeve, some words, and this is the Unlimited Blue. Great stuff. Anything Walter Schreifels does, I'm gonna be all over it. Even the most recent Quicksand stuff, which ain't the best, but it's still pretty good. I did see Rival Schools here at the Casbah at Tremont back in the day, and when they were done and he stepped off, I got to shake his hand. That was an all-time moment in rock for me, meeting Walter Schreifels from Quicksand, which was one of the baddest ass bands to ever fucking exist. So that's 2010, and it gives us up to 2020. And a return to form for this great band from Austin, Texas, and you'll know us by the Trail of Dead. This is their album, their 10th album, 10, The Godless Void and Other Stories. And yeah, the two main cuts, Into the Godless Void and Don't Look Down, are return to form. Great fucking band. Seen them a bunch of times up in Cat's Cradle in Carborough. Hell, one time they let the first couple rows of people come up on stage. I was one of them, and their roadie was sitting there, and they had two full drummers, two drum kits going, and I'm like right in between them, and the roadie was looking at me like he was gonna kill me, because if it ended, and he thought I think he was thought I was gonna take off with something. It was funny as hell. And then those guys invited us out to go drink with them, and they are professionals when it comes to drinking, like hardcore. And we had to drive back and work the next day in Charlotte, so it wasn't happening. I kind of wish, looking back on it now, especially since we're living in the end times, that we would have gone and partied with those guys, but it is what it is. But that's my entry to the contest, man. New to your channel. Congrats on 100 subs. That was just like I told Joe, that was fast. I've been doing this for a long time, and I don't have much more than that, so I'm doing something right, man. Keep it up. Peace.